Hi, I'm Rachel, and I'm 29 years old. Before I got married, I worked as a receptionist at a dental clinic. The days were long, but I enjoyed the work. I gave it up when I married Daniel. He wanted me to be home full time. He asked me to look after his father. He asked so earnestly, "Please, I need you to do this," he said. "All right, I'll give it everything I have," I told him. I've never been the type to stay in one lane, so when Daniel asked me to care for his dad, I said yes without much hesitation. A mutual friend introduced us, and we married after 8 months of dating. Daniel had lost his mother to illness years earlier, so his father had been living alone with him. "Caring for my dad would mean the world to me," Daniel said. "He's been so lonely since Mom passed. I worry about him being by himself all day." "I understand," I told him. "We can't just leave him on his own." I found out his father had gotten sick not long after his wife died, and had struggled ever since, with Daniel handling nearly everything around the house on top of work. When I first met him, he was warm and welcoming toward me. "I'll take care of anything outside the house, and I'd love it if you manage things indoors," he told me gently. "Of course," I said. "I'm happy to help however I can." I never had trouble with my father-in-law. He was frail and mostly bedridden, so I had a lot of freedom in how I ran the household. The real problem turned out to be Daniel. Once we were married, he started pulling away from me. "Want to take a drive this weekend?" I asked once. "Your dad seems stable, and it'd be nice to get out." "Sorry, I'm just exhausted. I want to rest," he said. "Okay, no worries," I answered. Over time, Daniel grew increasingly distant, and I noticed real tension building between us. At first, I chalked it up to work stress, but the coldness only deepened. Even our physical closeness disappeared. There were nights I thought things might go well between us, and he'd still turn away. "Please, can we try? I really want us to start a family," I pleaded once. "I want that too. I do. Just not tonight," he'd answer. With 30 approaching, I felt the pressure building. My father-in-law also longed for a grandchild and brought it up often. It hurt not being able to give him that. Then he passed away before we ever got the chance. After the funeral, Daniel became even more withdrawn. "Welcome home. I made your favorite pot roast," I said one evening. "Daniel, are you even listening to me? Do you want to shower first?" "I'll wait for you to eat," I offered, trying to draw him out. He'd gone almost silent at home. No matter what I said, he barely responded. I assumed grief over his father was the cause and told myself he'd come around eventually, so I tried to be patient and supportive. But weeks turned into months, and nothing changed. "Daniel, how have you been sleeping lately?" I asked one night. "I wanted to talk about scheduling a fertility checkup for us. What do you think?" "Daniel." I tried again. I brought up his health, his mood, our future, the idea of children, again and again, but he never seemed to want to engage. "Please just talk to me," I begged. "Have I done something wrong? Whatever it is, please just tell me and I'll fix it." Nothing I said reached him, and the silence stretched on for weeks. His sudden coldness left me completely confused. Desperate, I called my old college roommate Nina for advice. Nina works in advertising, sharp, well-connected, someone I always turn to when life gets complicated. I told her everything. She listened closely to every detail. "This isn't normal," she said. 3 years married, living under the same roof, and he just shuts you out? "Something's off. Have you done anything to cause this, Rachel?" she asked. "No, nothing," I told her. And that's exactly what confused me most. Nina offered to help me get to the bottom of it. She'd already begun suspecting something. "If you haven't done anything wrong, then he's hiding something," she said. "Let's find out together, whatever it takes, listening in, watching him, following him if we have to." "Is that really something I should do?" I asked, uneasy. "Absolutely," she said. "Staying silent and keeping secrets in a marriage is far worse." So, on Nina's advice, I quietly placed small recording devices and cameras around our house. Guilt gnawed at me, but I needed answers. Even then, Daniel kept ignoring me completely. "Daniel, please, talk to me." I tried again and again, with no response. A few days later, my phone rang. It was Daniel. "Where have you gone?" he demanded. "Why would you leave for a whole week?" "Maybe you should ask yourself that," I shot back. "I don't know what you mean. Be straight with me," he said. I was furious that he had the nerve to question me after weeks of silence. With Nina's encouragement, I dug deeper into Daniel's life and uncovered something devastating. Consumed by anger, I packed a bag and moved into Nina's spare room. It was a week later that Daniel finally called again. "If you have something to say it to my face," he said. "Fine, but you don't get to shut me out again," I told him, bracing myself for the confrontation ahead. The fury from what I discovered hadn't faded at all. His betrayal sat like a stone in my chest. He needed to answer for what he'd done. I set up a meeting and hung up before he could respond further. I asked him to meet me at a small cafe downtown. He showed up in a suit, must have left work early. I didn't wait. I laid everything out on the table in front of him. "What is this, Rachel? Stop. Put those away," he said. "If you don't want to look, then you put them away yourself," I said. "Doesn't change what's on them. I can print more copies whenever I want." "When were these taken?" he asked, trying to dodge. Spread across the table were photos that told the whole story. Daniel and another woman walking arm in arm downtown, disappearing into a hotel together. Same woman in every single one. Her name was Elena. I'd learned during my search. "I also have recordings. Want to hear them?" I asked. "Recordings," he said, visibly rattled. I played the audio right there on my phone. "When's she planning to move out?" Elena's voice asked. "Soon. She's getting tired of this. Might ask for a divorce herself." "I'm hoping she does, honestly. Easier for me if she just says it first," Daniel replied, voice flat and calculating. "Classic you, always waiting for someone else to do the hard part," Elena said. When I stopped the recording, Daniel looked cornered, like he already suspected we'd been listening. I wondered what expression he wore, caught red-handed in front of his own wife. He looked ready to snap. "Daniel, you needed a caretaker for your father? That's the real reason you married me," I said. "Now that he's gone, you don't need me anymore. Elena was always the one you wanted, but she wasn't willing to take care of your dad, so you picked someone who would. Anyone able to shoulder that responsibility would have done. Once the caregiving ended, so did my usefulness to you. The plan was to make my life unbearable until I asked for the divorce myself. That's cruel, calculated, and completely dishonors what marriage is supposed to mean. At least there are no children caught in this," I said. "And you never wanted kids, did you? Because you knew it would only make things harder to walk away from," I added. Daniel exhaled heavily. "Most of what you're saying is accurate," he admitted. "I married you already planning to eventually leave. You're right, I'm not a good person." "So what now?" he asked. "There's one more thing," I said. "Someone else is joining us." "You don't mean—" he started before two women approached the table, apologizing for the wait. "What is this, Daniel?" he asked, stunned. "So you're the roommate," one of them said, clearly caught off guard. "I'm not his roommate. I'm his wife, for now anyway," I said. "Thank you for coming, Nina." "Anytime," she replied. "Wait, I thought we were meeting for lunch," Nina said, playing along and startling both Daniel and Elena. "I'm sorry, that wasn't true," I admitted. "What I was really doing was tracking down my best friend's husband's affair partner. And that's you, Elena. I brought you here to sit across from him." I showed Elena the same folder of evidence. Her reaction was almost childlike, caught completely unprepared, like she hadn't grasped how serious this actually was. "Her reaction doesn't change what comes next," I said. "I'm seeking compensation from both of you." "What? Why would I owe you anything? I haven't done anything to you directly," Elena protested. "Do you really not see it?" I said. "Elena is married herself. Doesn't it bother her that her own husband is out there with someone else?" Whether she genuinely didn't understand or refused to, convincing her took a while. Eventually, she broke down crying at the table. I wondered if she was thinking about her own husband and considered mentioning the certified letter I planned to send him, but decided against explaining it right then. Meanwhile, Daniel sat in silence, staring at the table. "Sign these," I said, sliding two documents toward him. "The divorce agreement and the settlement terms, $40,000 in compensation. Is that unreasonable? Don't put a price on my emotional damage," he snapped. I looked at him evenly and said nothing more. He stayed quiet for the rest of the meeting. The only sound left in that cafe was Elena's quiet crying. The divorce was finalized without much delay after that. I confirmed the settlement and asset split landed in my account in a single transfer. With that money, I moved into a nicer apartment, a small reset for myself, a little luxury to help me feel like myself again. Daniel ended up having to sell his childhood home just to cover what he owed me. It was almost sad watching him end up with nothing after settling his debts, but it was the consequence of his own choices, especially since the $40,000 wasn't the only bill coming due. His total losses eventually climbed past $100,000, from what I heard. He's also being sued by his own company for damages, someone told me. Turns out Elena is married to an executive at one of Daniel's biggest corporate clients, I explained. Once her husband found out through the certified letter I sent, he was livid. With the evidence I'd handed over, there was no denying any of it. On top of the affair, Elena had reportedly been feeding Daniel confidential information from her husband's company. The fallout damaged the business relationship between both companies significantly. Daniel lost his job entirely, facing not just professional fallout but total isolation from coworkers and management alike, plus a massive damages claim, I said. "Poor guy. But he did this to himself, someone remarked. Think he'll be paying that off for years? Someone else asked. Honestly, probably for the rest of his life, I said. His future doesn't look promising at all. I imagine he's still trying to figure out how to survive the fallout from his own choices. From what I later heard, Daniel couldn't land steady work again. He gave up searching for full-time employment and started picking up odd jobs just to get by. Rumor has it the company's managing director quietly worked to make sure he never got hired anywhere reputable again, though nobody can really confirm that. And honestly, no one seems eager to find out. Daniel, now divorced himself, eventually reconnected with Elena, also freshly divorced, and they moved in together. It hasn't gone smoothly. Elena spends money like it means nothing. Whatever Daniel manages to scrape together from odd jobs, she burns through it fast. Makeup, bags, clothes, and the two of them argue about money constantly. So even without the cheating anymore, their relationship is falling apart on its own, I said. I know this because Daniel called me directly, asking for money, saying times were hard. What did you tell him? Someone asked. I said no, obviously. I told them. I owe them nothing. Why would I lift a finger for either of them, especially after finding out they used to call me the maid behind my back? Whatever happens to them from here isn't my concern anymore, I said firmly. After everything, I returned to dental office work and I'm doing well at my new job. I stay busy enough that I don't have much time to dwell on things, and honestly, that suits me fine these days. Every once in a while, when things slow down, old memories creep back in and put me in a low mood, I admitted. Not long ago, I ran into a living reminder of all of it, Daniel himself. It happened on a quiet street at dusk on my walk home from work. He called my name as I passed. I turned around and just froze for a second. His hair and beard had grown out shaggy, his skin was sunburned and rough, his face gaunt, his clothes stained and worn thin. I was honestly shaken by how different he looked. It's been a while. Is that really you, Daniel? I asked. Are you eating okay? Taking care of yourself? I found myself asking like some concerned relative despite everything. As much as I resented him, seeing him like that stirred something close to pity. I eat something most days, not always 3 meals, he said. Work's been scarce. Mostly I collect cans and scrap paper, sell them by weight to a recycler. After some awkward small talk, he finally worked up to what he actually wanted to ask. Do you think there's any chance we could try again? He asked. What about Elena? Weren't you two living together? I asked. We're done. She left me, he said. Probably moved back in with her parents by now. Wouldn't surprise me if they set her up with someone respectable eventually, he added, clearly still shaken from the breakup. It must have hurt him deeply, given how hard it seemed for him to even bring it up with me. Seeing him like that was genuinely sad, but there was nothing left for me to offer him, I thought quietly. After that run-in, I spotted him a handful of times in line outside a community food kitchen. He'd grown even thinner, and every time he caught me looking, he'd quickly glance away, embarrassed. I never want to end up like that, I think to myself every time I see him now. He's become a cautionary tale in my own mind, a reminder of how badly my first marriage ended. But I haven't given up on finding real happiness with someone else. There's still so much ahead of me. I believe my best chapters haven't been written yet. With that in mind, I've started showing up to local social events with Nina by my side. Being divorced isn't the end of the story for me. The world is big, and somewhere out there is someone who'll want to hold on to me gently, for good this time.